Today I'm going to tell you how you can develop your own profitable strategy into the markets. So the first one you might already know is you got to pick the concepts from somebody else. You got to learn a strategy from someone in order to build that foundation for your own strategy. So the way you do this, you either go for support and resistance, you either go for ICT, for SMC, trade liquidity in my case. It's whatever you like, really, and whatever you test and like the most. Just don't be one of those guys like I've seen a French dickhead that said one time that he didn't learn from nobody else, he didn't learn from no one, he learned by himself on the charts. It's already a red flag. And he said he would call his own trading concepts as anime references. So you and me, we might see a breaker structure. He would say he would see a Susano, and then the price would come into his Kamehameha zone, and he was short. I mean, a bunch of bullshit. That guy is clearly not profitable, okay? So the first, you gotta build your foundation. What's your type of strategy, all right? Is it liquidity? Is it support and resistance? Is it Ishimoku? Is it buy and pray? Whatever. Second of all, you got to backtest, of course. You got to backtest, and it's not 10, 20 trades. It's a sample size of hundreds. At least 100, 200, 300 is already good. It's already some data we can base our strategy off, all right? And in this backtest, what you're gonna do is that first you're gonna get your foundation. You gotta get your checklist. All right, I want to see this. I want to see. All right, let's say you have like 5 confluences, 3 to 5 confluences, and it's all ticked off. And if it's all ticked off, you take it in the backtesting. All right, and you get it to the sample size. So those sample size will only contain high quality setups. Maybe you can do a section of B class setups, more risky setups, all right? But as soon as you get and I want you to, on this sample size, to take it as much serious as possible, and really to detail every single trade. When I say every single detail, I mean like time of the day, the hour, the session. Was the candle with a wick? Was the liquidation good? Was there a buy to sell, a sell to buy? Did we take out Asia session? Was it on London close? Was it a retracement? Was it a continuation of the trend? Was it counter trend? Was it during news, like on news timing? I don't know. Ask yourself every single question. Did we make a smart money trap before? Did this, did that? I want you to pick every little thing, every tiny detail, you put it. And you do this on a Excel spreadsheet, and you detail every single thing. Maybe you can get some comments on detail the trade, but I want you to make details of everything and then say no, yes, session, whatever, which one was it, list, whatever, bro. I want you to go as far as detail as possible, and then on this Excel spreadsheet you can go to another Excel spreadsheet that will retail this data. I mean, you gotta know how to use Excel, but it's pretty simple, guys. It's just look at this data and use some formulas to put this data into right here, and then we'll say, okay, best time to trade. This is most performant. Let's say you're more performant at 9 o'clock at London session. Let's say you are not even performant on New York, you can't trade New York, blah blah blah. Then you know how the technicals, the sessions, you know everything. Where you're most profitable, where you're not. The second phase is now the refinement phase. So you already know your data for the 100 trades, for the hundreds of trades, and now we're gonna refine. And the refine doesn't mean essentially make it better or whatever. You can make it better. Maybe you notice some things. Maybe you adding the question and you notice like you need one more confluence, one more thing box in the checklist. But the refinement phase essentially means taking out what doesn't work. It's because a lot of traders tend to go to add more things, more this, because they need more wins. While in the meanwhile, they only need to take out things that don't work. So if in your backtesting you're profitable in London, but on New York you're unprofitable, just stop trading in New York. The best way you can do to do this backtesting, you can do it in TradingView, you can do it in TradeZella, I believe, or you can do it in FX Replay. FX Replay is the best in my opinion. I even got a link in the description where you can get 15% off with my code. Again, it's what I use. If you don't want to buy it, doesn't matter. Speaking of FX Replay, I can show y'all a session here where I did a whole year of 2024 with my strategy with a new entry model of stop order, and we coming with 45% win rate, and we're doubling the account, making 100% something a year. And so you can see average win rate, not win rate, risk to reward. You can classify it in the spreadsheet as well. How much do your trade run to? Do they only run to 3R? Do they run to 5R? And you can calculate that. Maybe you take the profits out at 3R, but maybe just keep an eye off to see if the trade would have hit 5R, and then make the calculations. Well, if my win rate is 40% for 3R, and then it's maybe like 20% for if I go for 5R, then make the calculation. This one will leave you with 2R. If we're basing ourselves in a sample of 10 trades, this will lead you with 2R, and this will be 9 minus 6. This will leave you with 3R. So in this case, it's better to go with a 3R, because you get a 40% win rate and you're most performant over a period of 10 trades. You gotta remember that these 10 trades, won't always result like this, but in a long time frame, you always end in more profitability, right? It's all about probabilities, guys. So you gotta make these questions about the risk to reward and how much win rate are you willing to take. And so we can check. In here, we can see that my win rate for buying and selling is pretty much the same. But if it was like super bad for selling, for example, and super good for buying, I will only look for buys. Or in a more advanced, maybe I would maybe invert the chart, but that's a little bit more complicated. But if you want to do that, you can do that. You can invert the chart on TradingView to make it look like your favorite or most performant type of execution. All right. So here we can do things with this. We can do things with the win rate if we're better at buying or selling. So if you're better at buying, focus more on buys. If you're better at selling, focus more on selling. And if you're worse on one of them, just cut it off. Maybe. Depends on your probabilities. Here we can see that you gotta also take in consideration the total trades for this example right here. So here you can see it's pretty much 50-50. So in here it's also 50-50 for both, 30% win rate in each. So it's quite good. Nothing really to be changed here. We can maintain the same habit of taking buys and sells as accordingly. Then performance by session. These are things you can check on FX Replay. It's super good. It's still not enough to go in every single detail. You should definitely try to do it in an Excel spreadsheet, like I said, to get that tiny details that will possibly make a lot of difference. But here is already a good start. and if you don't want to do a lot of work, and if your Excel skills aren't that good. So here you can see that my win rate out of session, again, this is most probably London close, 30%, New York, 25%, 30%, maybe quite low for you. For me, it works. And you can see the equity curve, it's profitable, all right? Everyone's got their strategy, everyone got the probabilities, works for me. It might be low for you in terms of win rate. Maybe you could turn down the risk to reward or the trade frequency, and you can up the win rate. I've talked about that in one of my videos, how to increase your win rate. If you want to check it out, you can manipulate your win rate, all right? But in here, again, nothing much to do. The win rate's pretty much the same in all sessions. If London was worse, maybe we could have cut off London. Here, total of trades, again, not so many trades for London, which makes the win rate look better. And here, mass risk reward, we follow the same, all right? Usually follow the same. It depends if you have a flexible risk reward or you have a fixed one. I have a fixed one. Here, the profit. Now this is where it gets interesting. 42R in New York, almost 45 in London close, and 20 in London. So what this tells us is that I'm most performant in New York and London close. And in London, I'm not so performant. But even though I'm not so performant, I'm still profitable. So I can still take those London trades. But in my mind, I know that I'm more profitable in New York and London close. So in these two, I gotta focus myself in more. If you make a session, and like I was telling before, if you make a session of backtesting and your London session or whatever session it is, it tends to be negative, just cut it off. Way more simple, way more profits. Like I say, you don't need to add stuff. You don't need more stuff. Maybe you just need to cut off the stuff that's taking your profits, that's eating your P&L. Then you can look at hours, timings, where you might be better. This is good to have some focus in those times. You also got to build a trading schedule. I trade from this time to this time and to this time to this time. For example, me, I got to look at the charts at 9. It's not worth it me telling you the times, because we all got different time zones. But for me, it's from London close until from London until London close, for example. For you, you might not be profitable in London, or you might not care. And even if you're in the States, you might not trade London. Maybe it's not worth it, and it's like 4 in the morning for you. Maybe you just look at London and New York, and you go off that. It's all based. We're all different, and we all got different strategies. You gotta find the best for what's best for you. All right. We look at days of the week. This is also important. Like, you can see how my Tuesdays were the least performant in this session. So minus almost 14k and 19k. So here I got a profit of about 5 to 6k. It's still profitable, but keep in mind, it's the least performant day. And then for the most performant one, I would say Friday maybe. Keep the losing short while the win's high. Maybe it's this one, 21, 7. Yeah, or maybe they're quite the same. But I know I'm better towards the end of the week, and that's something you gotta see by yourself. I remember back in the day, maybe like 1 year ago, I was not profitable on Thursdays, and that's when I didn't master smart money traps so well, and I wasn't performant on Thursdays. So what did I do in my trading plan? Don't trade Thursdays, because whatever it may be, like the setup could be beautiful on Thursday, it will still end in a sell. I can't explain why, but it would end in a sell. It was most probably because I was falling for smart money traps, which I didn't master before. But hey, if that's the case, just cut it off. No point in trying to force it and losing money. All right, and then you got the months. It's not really much you can do here. Instead of just speculating what you could do per month, because you can have some seasonality, but every month is gonna be different. Like in different years. I mean, like, just because you had a good January in 2024 doesn't mean you're gonna have a good January in 2025. All right, or a bad one. But you can see how these are like super good, like keeping the months high, the profitable months high, and losing months short. Okay, super good. And then yeah, you can see this Monte Carlo simulation, which will tell you if you're profitable or not as well, because it takes out, you can do multiple simulations. Let's say 10 simulations, each 100 has like 300 trades, and it averages my win rate. My win rate and my risk reward, which is usually, because this is exponential, because the account is growing, but it's usually like 3R. So 3R with a 45% win rate, of course, is profitable. As you can see, if the account was started at 100k, it would grow. It will go to these levels in a 300 trade sample. All right. So I want you to backtest. I want you to detail every single thing on your strategy and really go off detail, bro. Really search tiny little things. Play with the win rate. Play with the risk to reward. Play with the trade frequency. All right. Check which session you're more profitable at. The pair. Try out different pairs. Try out EU. Try out GU. Try out gold, futures, whatever. Just find your main space. We're all different. You might pick some strategy off an influencer. You might pick my one or something. But at the end of the day, you're gonna add some little stuff to it, and it's gonna become your own. All right. So I hope you guys like it. I hope there was value in this one. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like, subscribe, join the group, and if you want to work personally with me, I also have a link down below. All right. See you on the next one.